And I'll just mute everybody. So just lie on your back for a moment. Soles of the feet together, knees dropping out to the side. And just take a moment to let everything settle and relax. Breathing in through the nose, out through the nose. And as you exhale, let that exhalation enable your body to relax just a little bit more. Imagine, since we're working on our hips this week, imagine that you're sending your breath to your hips as you breathe in. And as you breathe out, just see if you can allow your knees to drop a little bit wider. Breathing in through the nose, send that breath all the way down, past the bottom of your rib cage, imagining that you're sending it to your hips. And then breathing out, letting go, releasing the hips. And then think about the rest of your back body here. Allow the whole of the spine to rest into the mat. So are you creating any sort of dip in your lower back? Is it coming away from the mat? As you breathe out, see if you can allow it to rest closer to the mat, just lifting the pelvis slightly as you do that, just tilting the pelvis, I should say. And if you lie here with your palms facing up, it can feel quite a vulnerable position, feel quite open and exposed. So don't worry about that. You're all in your safe rooms here. But this is a really good position to let go. So just allow that to happen. So where are you holding on? Is it your forehead? Can you soften any frown that you're holding there? Is it your shoulders? Just let them go. Allowing those knees to drop open a little bit wider. With your eyes closed, you can visualize the legs opening and dropping closer to the mat. And then on your next inhalation, just gently help your knees to come back together so the soles of the feet go onto the floor. Take your hands out wide with the palms facing down. And as you exhale, drop just the left knee out to the side. Inhale. Drop the right knee over to meet the left. So bring that little twist into the spine. Inhale, bring your right knee back upright. Drop it over to the right. Both knees are open. Inhale, bring your left knee into that upright position. Exhale, send it over to the right. So getting that little twist, that opening in the left side of the body. Inhale, open the left leg back up. Release both legs so that they're open. Just do that once more on each side. So bringing your right knee up towards the ceiling and then sending it over to the left. So we get in that twist. Opening the one knee. So think about your legs like the pages of the book, and then you're dropping them open, bringing the left leg up towards the ceiling, dropping them both together over to the right, adding in that twist. And then bring both knees together up towards the ceiling. Plant your feet on the floor. And just draw the knees up towards the chest and take your hands and place them on your knees. So your toes are touching. And we're just going to start to open the hips once more. So draw the knees towards your armpits and then send them out wide. And then draw them back in. So it's like you're drawing big circles with your knees, keeping your toes together. So you can feel how you're massaging your lower back against the mat at the same time here. Just drawing the knees up and over the chest, sending them out wide. And then drawing them back in as you inhale. Exhale them away. And then change the direction. So we're sending the knees away, sending them out wide, bringing them back and up and over the chest. Making those big circles. Just easing into the hips, starting to get some movement here. Well done. So now just draw the knees up and over your chest once more. Hug them in tight in Apanasana. Have a little roll from side to side. And then start to roll along the mat. Just rolling back and forth until you bring yourself up to seated. You're going to swap or cross your feet at the ankles and tuck your heels underneath your hips. Roll over. You're in all fours position. So from this all fours position, we're just going to do another few little wake up moves for our hips. So keeping your hands underneath your shoulders and your knees underneath your hips. Take a breath in. And as you exhale, send the right knee out to the side and start to draw some circles with that right knee. So think about the left leg here. We're not dropping over to the left. We're keeping as flat a back as we can. Imagine that cup of tea balancing on your back. And you're just drawing those circles with the hip. And then change the direction. So really working into that right hip. And then take your right knee and take it all the way over to your left elbow. And then inhale and take it all the way out to the side. Bring it in to your right elbow. Exhale it out to the side. Inhale, bring it towards the center and round your spine as you bring it up towards your chest. And this time as you exhale, you're going to send the leg all the way behind you, sending the foot up to the ceiling, keeping that knee bent. Inhale and draw it all the way back to your chest, round the spine. Exhale, place the knee down on the mat. So we're going to work on our left side now. So keep your nice flat, straight spine. Don't drop into the right as we inhale and exhale the left knee out to the side, drawing those circles with the hip. Just working into that hip. You should really feel the rotation. And then change the direction. So really think about your spine here. We don't want to drop to the side. We're working into the hip. If we drop over to the side, we're just going to make it an easier move. And then inhale, draw the left knee towards your right elbow. Exhale, send it out to the side. Inhale, draw it into your left elbow. Can you feel how you have to engage your tummy muscles here to keep the balance? Exhale to the side. Inhale and draw it all the way to the center, round the spine. Exhale, send the leg behind you. Keep the knee bent, sending it up to the ceiling. Inhale, back to the chest, round the spine. Exhale, place it back down. Well done. So come down to your seated position once more. So cross your legs in front of you in whichever position is good for you. So you can have the heels resting or just one in front of the other, or you can place one on top of the other if that's comfortable for you, or you can cross the feet. Sitting up straight and tall. Inhale, reach the hands up alongside your ears. Exhale, twist to the right. Place your left hand on your right knee, right hand behind you. Look over that right shoulder. Inhale, reaching up. Coming back around to the center, all the way to the left as you exhale. Place your right hand on your left knee, left hand behind. Just a nice twisting movement. Inhale, reaching up. Exhale, release. So now change the cross of your legs and take hold of a block or a book, whatever you've got that's handy. And we're going to place that in front of us. And make sure that you're really sitting up onto your sit bones here. So release them, release the flesh out of the way. Sitting up straight and tall. And as you exhale, you're going to walk those fingertips away from you, trying to keep the back as long and straight as you can until the last minute when you allow your forehead to rest on that block or book. So you're reaching forward, resting the head on the block or several books or blocks, whatever is good for you. So the reason why we rest the head on something is that this is actually quite a tough move for the hips. And the hips can feel really tight in this position. And as soon as we start to move forward, our body sort of goes into a little bit of a panic. And we think, oh no, this is going to hurt. We're not going to do this. If you rest your forehead, you're triggering the vagus nerve. You're making a connection with the vagus nerve. And you trigger that relaxation response. So keep breathing. Breathing into those hips. And then release and walk back. So did anybody see my note about a tennis ball for this morning? Have you all got a tennis ball? We're just going to do a little massage of the right side of our hips. If you just grab your ball, left one out here. I know it's trouble because Otis is in with us. Okay, so what we're going to do, we've got a muscle that runs at the side of our legs here. It's quite deep, and then it wraps up and around and comes into the front. And it's called the piriformis, and it's the one that controls our movement of our legs out to the side. So we're just going to give that a little massage and a little warm up. So we're going to get the ball, and we want to place it down the side of the leg here. If you feel in that line, just run your fingers up the side of your leg. You'll probably feel some tenderness here. So we can just massage with the ball, or we can do it on the mat. So we can lie on that ball, just leaning into a bent elbow, and just position yourself over the ball. Use your left hand to support you, and then just start to roll. So do whatever feels good for you here to allow you to roll. So I bend my left leg as I roll my right leg, and you might find some really sore spots here. So if anybody suffers with sciatica, this is another good release for that, because if there's tightness in the piriformis muscle, then that can trigger sciatica in the glutes. So go deep into that sciatic nerve. So this is a good one to do. So if you find somewhere that feels particularly tender, just hold on that spot for a moment. Don't roll over it. It's better to hold it and release. And then you can move back into rolling. So just a few more. Rolling up and down. And then sit up and away from that ball. We're going to do the other side. There's lots of ways that you can use this ball. You could do it up against the wall as well. You could trap it between you and the wall if you find lying down not so good. So we're on the left side now. So the ball is under the left hip. My left leg is out straight. My right leg is bent. As I'm moving up and down, my left arm is bent as I rest into that bent elbow. So look for those tight spots. That's what we want. We want the bits that are stuck. This is working into the fascia. And if you find a really a tense hot spot, hold over it. Quite surprising how we tend to have a lot of these on the right and on the left side of our body. So just work into them. And then release. Come away from that tennis ball. And just sit back into a cross-legged position. And just notice, did your legs come into that cross-legged position maybe a little bit easier? I can usually notice that straight away. It really feels like I've released those muscles, and I can come into that cross-legged position much more easily. Okay, so we're going to bring ourselves up to the mat now. We're going to do a little flow. See how our hips are feeling. So come to the back of your mat. Standing up straight and tall. Have your feet hip distance apart. Plant the soles of the feet into the mat. Relax your shoulders. So find your Tadasana. Taking a breath in, reach up and overhead. Exhale, bring the hands all the way down through the midline, down to the mat. Uttanasana, sort of a bend in the backs of the knees. Just for the first one here as we're easing in. Inhale, take your hands up to your shins, make that half forward fold. Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, take your hands back to the mat. Bend your knees enough so you can plant your hands and walk them out into plank. So plank position, find that strength here. Long, straight spine, up onto your toes, engage your tummy muscles. Inhale. Exhale, lower the knees to the mat, release the tops of the feet, bend the elbows and come down to Cobra. So Bhujangasana. Inhale, just lift your chest away from the mat as you squeeze the shoulder blades together, engage your tummy muscles. Take a breath. As you exhale, toes into the mat, release back into downward facing dog. Bring your feet in a little bit closer and walk the heels. Easing out into the backs of the legs. And then allow the heels to drop towards the mat. Taking a breath in. Take the weight into the left foot as you exhale your right leg up into the air, three-legged dog. Inhale. Exhale, bend the right knee, drop the right heel over towards the left hip. We're opening out through the front of the right hip. Take your gaze under your right armpit. Inhale. Exhale, bring your body back into alignment. Send the leg out behind, drawing it up towards your chest. Stepping it forward and through. Just drop your knee down to the mat. So we're in this low lunge position. So we're going to take our hands, both of them to the inside of your right foot, and just gently move forward and back. So as we're moving, we're extending the left leg, working into the front of that left leg, the psoas muscle. And as we sit back, we're extending the right leg, working into the hamstrings. So breathing in and breathing out. So a few forward and back moves. And then see if you can add to this. Can you come down onto your elbows? Now, if this is too much, you can take a block to the left of your foot and place your elbows on the block. So I want you to feel like you're really working into that hip. So you do whichever way is right for you. If your elbows will come down, then you're easing in to that hip. This is the lizard pose. I did look into the Sanskrit word for this. Uttari Pristhasana. And Uttari in Sanskrit means stretch out. And Pristhasana, well, Prist is a page of a book. So I think they're trying to say it's like opening and closing a book as you do this. Maybe. I think it's more of a lizard myself. Okay, so the next time you sit your hips back, bring your right toes and point them up to the ceiling. So really reaching into that right leg now. Just take a breath here. And then plant your foot back on the mat. Release your hands back to inside of the foot. We're going to come up onto your left toes and take a breath in and step the left foot to the other side of your hands. So you're in this sort of squat position. Inhale, bring yourself up and away from the mat. Hands reach up. Exhale to the heart center. Well done. So we're at the top of our mat. We need to come back to the back of the mat to do all of that on the other side. Taking a breath in. Reach your hands out wide, up and overhead. Exhale all the way down the midline. Uttanasana, forward fold. Just observing how you're feeling here. Now, maybe a little bit freer. Inhale, slide your hands up to your shins, half forward fold. Your gaze is to the mat. Exhale, hands to the mat, walk them out into your strong plank. Balancing on your toes. So really find some strength here. Engage those tummy muscles, your back, the glutes. Inhale. Exhale, knees to the mat. Release your toes, bend the elbows, lower yourself down. We're coming into cobra. Inhale, just lifting the chest away from the mat. Squeeze the shoulder blades together. So if you want to add on something here, really engage those tummy muscles. Engage your glutes to find that tightness across the back body, and as you inhale, lift your hands away from the mat. Just balancing on the tummy. Take a breath. Exhale, hands to the mat. Release the toes, come back. Downward facing dog. Bring your feet in a little closer. Excuse me. Walk the heels once more, working into the hamstrings, and you can feel the hips just moving from side to side. Hopefully a little freer now. And then allow the heels to come back to the mat. Take a breath in. Plant your right foot into the mat. Exhale, left leg away, pointing away with the toes. Three-legged dog. Inhale. Exhale, bend the left knee, drop the heel over towards the right hip. Take your gaze under your left armpit. Inhale. Draw the body back into alignment, extend the leg, drawing it up towards your chest, and exhale it out between your hands. Drop your right knee. So placing your left hand inside of your left foot, let's do those lizard movements once more. Or page of the book, as it says. Uttari Kristhasana. Just breathing in and out as you move into that hip. And extending that left leg as you sit back towards your heel. And then with the options, you can have the block in front of you, or you can lower your elbows to the mat as you move back and forth. And really imagine that you're a lizard here, moving and working into that hip. That's it, well done. And then bring yourself back upright into that lunge position. Sitting back towards your right heel, lift your left foot away from the mat. And see if you can find some length in the spine. Lifting the left toes, really working into that left hamstring. Taking a breath in. Reposition the body over the hands, so plant both the hands into the mat. Take another breath in. As you exhale, you're going to step your right leg up to meet the hands in this deep squat. Inhale, bring yourself up. Hands come up and overhead. Exhale to the heart center. Bring your feet back so that they're in line with your hips. Well done. Everybody feeling okay? Yeah, good. So let's just add in another little flow movement here. So standing at the top of the mat, relax the shoulders. Find your Tadasana, find some softness in the knees. Inhale, reach your hands up and overhead. Exhale, come all the way down through the midline, back to the mat, Uttanasana. Inhale, slide your hands up to your shins, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, hands back to the mat. So bend your knees enough that you can plant your hands. And step your right foot and then your left foot back into downward facing dog. Just enjoy this down dog for 3 breaths. In and out. And with each exhalation, send your heels to the mat, your hips to the ceiling. And then on your next inhalation, walk your feet back towards your hands. Keep that bend in the knees. And then take your hands to your toes. So can you wrap your first finger and your thumb around your big toes? So with your knees bent here, your gaze is to the mat. Take a breath in. And as you exhale, start to lift the hips up towards the ceiling, dropping the top of the head towards the mat. So straightening those legs. If they don't come towards straight, don't worry, just do whatever is right for you. Take it to your maximum. It doesn't have to be completely straight. Take a breath in, bend the knees, sink back towards the mat, and then as you exhale, repeat that again. So send the hips up to the ceiling, really feel that stretch through the backs of the legs, coming back to your Uttanasana, but with your hands around your toes. Inhale, bend the knees once more. Exhale, send the hips up to the ceiling. And then inhale, bend the knees, release your hands. Take your feet just a little bit wider. And then as you exhale, you're going to sink down into your best squat. So will your heels come towards the mat? Don't worry if they're not quite there. Just reach your hands out in front of you. And then release your knees to the mat. Take them wide, toes together, and sink back into child's. Extended child's with your hands reaching out in front of you. Keep breathing. Inhale, bring yourself back up and lift the body up into all fours. So reposition your hands under your shoulders, your knees under your hips. Taking a breath in, you're going to step your right leg up towards your right hands and lift your body up and away from the mat. So nice straight spine. You might want some extra padding under that left knee. So if you're on a hard floor, just be careful. So taking a breath in, float your hands up and overhead, reaching out of the shoulders, engage the tummy muscles. And as you exhale, send your left hand forward, the right hand back. So warrior two, arms as you twist the body around towards the back. So you're looking over your right shoulder. You can have your palms facing forward, and that sort of helps to encourage your shoulders to slide towards each other. Inhale, float the hands back up, twisting back around to the right. Release your hands to your thighs. So again, just be careful with that left knee. We're just going to add in another little twist. So as you breathe in, float your hands up towards the ceiling. And as you breathe out, opening back to our warrior two, drop your left hand onto your right knee, just below it. And we're going to take this right hand back towards our left foot. So don't worry if you can't quite get there. If you come up onto your left toes, you'll bring your heel a little closer to reaching back into that left foot, and you should be feeling the left psoas muscle, left at the front of your left hip, stretching here. Inhale, float the hands all the way back up. Exhale, release. So we're just going to add in one more thing. Inhale, float the hands up. Exhale, out to our warrior two, arms. Release the left hand to the right thigh. And this time you're going to bring the left toes up to meet the right hand. Bit of a balance. And it's quite tough on that left knee, so make sure you've got the padding. Looking over the right shoulder, relax your shoulders. Well done. And then release. Float the hands back up once more. Exhale them back to the mat. Release into all fours. Knees wide, child's pose. Slide the hands forward. Take a breath here. And then bring yourself back to your all fours position. We're going to do all that on the other side. I'm just going to turn around so that you can see me. So all of this on the left-hand side now. So taking a breath in. As you exhale, step the left foot up to meet the hands. Coming into that lunge position. Inhale, float the hands up. Reaching up to the ceiling. And as you exhale, dropping the right hand forward, the left hand behind. So coming into warrior two position. Just let the palms face forward and squeeze your shoulder blades together, but keep your hips pointing forward. Keep breathing. Inhale, float the hands back up. Exhale, release. So we're going to try that other option here. So inhale, floating the hands up. Exhale, back into warrior two, arms. So taking your gaze to that back foot. Remember, you can plant the toes into the mat if you want to bring the heel up higher. Breathing in. And as you breathe out, tipping back to catch hold of the left heel. So this is like reverse warrior with our reach back. With a few differences, obviously we've got the bent knee and we're taking our gaze to the left foot on the mat. We're looking down. Usually in reverse warrior or peaceful warrior, we're looking at the hand in the air. Inhale, draw yourself back upright. Warrior two, arms. Exhale, release the hands up. Release them back to your sides. So once more for the third option. So releasing the hands up as you inhale. Exhale, warrior two, arms. Release the right hand to the left thigh, bend the right knee and catch hold of the left foot with the the right foot with the left hand. You know I'm hopeless with my right and left. You know what I mean. Bit of a balance here. And protect that knee. Extra bit of padding. Well done. Release the leg, float the hands up. Exhale, hands to the mat, hip the knees wide. Sink back into child's. Reaching the hands forward. And then inhale and walk yourself back upright. And release your legs out in front of you into Dandasana. Stick pose. So find that strong straight spine. Relax the shoulders. Make that connection with the backs of the legs and the mat. Engage your tummy muscles. This is quite a strong pose to hold. Relax these shoulders down. Inhale and draw your right foot up towards your hips. And as you exhale, you're going to let it drop out towards the right. So Janu Sirsasana. This is another one where we can use the weight. You can drop the weight onto that knee that's bent. So sitting up straight and tall. And as you exhale, just start to walk your hands towards your left foot. Keep your gaze on the left toes. Reaching forward, trying to keep that spine straight and long. And then when you get to your point that you think that's as far as you can go, then you can lower your nose to your knee. Just breathing into that pose. And then inhale and draw yourself back upright. Help that right knee to come back to the upright position and then release it away. Sitting back straight and tall, Dandasana. Just observing how the legs feel. Sometimes they feel as if one is longer than the other when you've done that. So let's rectify that by inhaling and drawing the left knee towards your left hip. Exhale as you drop it out to the side. Janusasana, sitting up straight and tall. Relax your shoulders. Hands are alongside the legs. And as you exhale, just walk those fingers towards the toes. Keeping that straight spine. And then only releasing when you reach your maximum. And it doesn't matter where that is. Just go as far as what's right for you. It's important that you find that length in the spine before you drop towards the knee. We want this move to obviously open our hips, but it's a nice stretch for the back too. And if you just round your back straight away, you're not going to get it. Inhale and walk yourself back upright. And exhale and release that leg. So we're back in our Dandasana. Just find that strong Dandasana. Hopefully the legs feel the same length now. And then gently lower yourself down into semi-supine. So take your hands out wide. Palms are facing down. Just rotate through the pelvis, easing it down towards the mat. And then taking a breath in, drawing the knees towards your chest, and then cross them at the thighs as if you're sitting in the chair with your legs crossed. And then as you exhale, drop them towards the left-hand side. So if your right knee is on top, then drop to the left. If your left knee is on top, drop to the right. We're going to do both sides. It doesn't matter which one you're on at the moment. So by crossing the legs, you're making a little bit more of a movement into the hips. You should feel that into the right hip if you're dropping your legs towards the left. Keep the shoulders in contact with the mat. And then inhale and bring your knees back upright. And cross the legs and cross them in the other direction. And I should say, I know none of you have had hip replacements. This is a tough one for people with hip replacements, and they shouldn't do it unless the replacement was done quite a long time ago. So take a breath in, and as you breathe over to the right and exhale to the right, your legs are dropping to the right. You can feel that opening in the left hip. So you can imagine if there was a hip replacement, then potentially the hip could work its way out of that socket, which is why we don't advise people to do it unless they've had it done a long time ago and their muscles had time to build up once more. So it's amazing, isn't it, the body? Inhale, draw yourself back to center, uncross the legs, and just allow them to slide out along the mat. Coming into your Shavasana. So have your layers, your blankets, get whatever you need to make you feel comfortable for this few minutes of relaxation. Lying out on the mat. Have your feet slightly wider than hip distance apart. And really focus on dropping the toes out to the side so that the sides of your feet, the outside edges of your feet are coming towards the mat. As you do that, you can really feel how you're releasing into those hip sockets. And if you bring the toes back up towards the ceiling and then draw them towards each other, working into those hip sockets once more, and then exhale and drop them out wide again. Just observing how those legs and hips are feeling. Do it once more if you like. Bring the toes in towards each other. And then release them out, just feeling how free and open the hips feel. And then take your attention to that space just at the sacrum area. Are you arching your spine? Try and relax it down. Find that neutral position. Just letting go from the heels all the way up the backs of the legs into the hips. And then let's concentrate on the upper body. Are you holding a frown? Release that frown from your forehead. Release any tension in your jaw. Let your teeth slightly separate. Let your tongue sink into the bottom of your mouth. Relax your neck, your shoulders. Feel your spine sinking into the mat, one vertebra at a time. Relax your arms, your elbows, your hands and your fingers. Taking a deep breath in through the nose, out through the nose. Just letting go. Giving yourself these few moments before we start our day. Breathing in, breathing out. And start to bring some movement back into your body. Wiggle your fingers, wiggle your toes. Rotate your wrists and your ankles. And on your next inhalation, float your hands up and overhead to a full body stretch, pointing from your fingers to your toes. And as you exhale, allow the hands to rest on the floor behind you. Inhale and bend your knees. Place your feet flat on the floor. And exhale over onto your right hand side. Just hugging your knees up towards your chest. Give yourself a touch. When you're ready, slowly blinking your eyes open. Bring yourself back up to a seated position. Everyone okay? Good. Let's just finish with our 3 breaths together. So sit up straight and tall. Take your hands out to the side. Find that long, straight spine. Inhale, reaching up. Exhale to the heart center. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Namaste. Thank you, everyone. Hope you've enjoyed that. Hope your hips feel a little looser.